Explore the colorful art of Kate Kosek. Chat with Collar City Coterie's Devin LeBlanc.
He's gonna save your
And catch a performance from Mark and Jill.
Yeah, but you gotta keep the devil way down in the hole.
It's all ahead on this episode of AHA.
The angels say.
Funding for AHA has been provided by your contribution and by contributions to the WMHT Venture Fund. Contributors include the Leo Cox Beach Philanthropic Foundation, Chet and Karen Alpelka, Robert and Doris Fisher-Melisardi, and the Robeson Family Foundation.
At M&T Bank, we understand that the vitality of our communities is crucial to our continued success. That's why we take an active role in our community. M&T Bank is pleased to support WMHT programming that highlights the arts, and we invite you to do the same.
Hi, I'm Matt Rogowitz, and this is AHA, a house for arts, a place for all things creative. Kate Kosek is an artist and educator whose textile sculptures satirize the hierarchies within art, craft, and design history. I recently visited her studio in Cohoes, New York.
I describe my work as textile sculptures. I combine metal, usually like welded metal armatures, with sewn fabric forms or fiber forms. I am a child of like the late 80s, early 90s, so hot pink is my favorite color. I also like cobalt teal. I wanted to go into science, but I realized I'm not good at science. And I don't really like other people's blood, because I did want to be a forensic scientist after watching The Bone Collector. Yeah, I realized I just had more of a talent for art, and so I went to undergrad to be an art teacher, but then got into painting and more of the journey of being like a fine artist. But now, funnily enough, I do teach. So for a while, I was really interested in patterns. Like that was the basis of my painting work, was color relationships and pattern. And then I realized, you know, a lot of the patterns that I was making were related to textiles. Like, how can I incorporate that into my work? Like seeing the patterns, like, oh, these are actually like stitches. And then when I got to grad school, where you just question everything, I realized that I wanted to make work about like my experience as a woman. I had cervical cancer, and I started thinking about like my fertility and like how society views women, and kind of like how stereotypes around womanhood and femininity come about. And I kind of am like playing and pushing back against that, because, you know, everyone has a different experience. I started sewing these like stuffed eggs. So, because they like really like represented that like, you know, fertility to me. You know, I was kind of going with what's obvious, like the obvious symbols. So I had this series called Fertile, and that's really where like the egg work came from. Also, I made this geometric form of my uterus. Actually, both of those pieces represent like an hourglass, the ticking clock of fertility on the female body. I was starting out by building these like metal armatures and then figuring out how the fabric could interact with that. And so Shapeshifter, you know, played off this idea of womanhood and, you know, the stereotypes and expectations of womanhood to kind of encompass like objects, how we associate certain objects with certain types of work and genders. And so I wanted it to be a very like playful show just about these objects that have their own autonomy. Like there's a piece that I made that's supposed to be like a window valance, like with the curtain, but it's just kind of bent and like hanging out in a corner, like leaning up against a wall. And I call it valance and balance. Combining the soft materials with the hard materials. Are the soft materials overpowering the metal? Like, because in certain sculptures, you'll see like the metal is bending or like being forced in a way. Like this one in the back, it's called soft power. Like you don't know if the metal is really pushing in on the fabric or if the fabric wants to burst away from the metal. So I like those ideas of like tension. Yeah, I also just want people to view like art as not having to be like these realistic portraits or landscapes, you know. It could be fun, it could be accessible, like with the materials that you're using, with the forms you're making. Yeah, be afraid of like doing something completely weird and random. Like that's the beauty of art. Like you bring, the inside comes out and it will resonate with someone.
Devin LeBlanc is the owner of Collar City Coterie, which is a costumed model and artist club in Troy, New York. Jade Warwick sat down with Devin to learn more.
Hey Devin, welcome to A House for Arts today.
Hi Jade.
Let's talk about your club, Collar City Coterie. What is it?
So Collar City Coterie is a costumed artist and model club based out of Troy, New York. And we host at this time 2 figurative sessions, our sideshow sessions, which are more informal, one night of the month, and our soiree sessions, which are a little bit more of a fancier party celebration sort of session, which is hosted on 2 Saturdays of the month.
I know you said that this club is a sort of like creative playground. So like what kind of experience are you creating? Like if I'm a new person and I just see the sign above the door, I'm like, what am I getting into?
So what I would hope that the artists would, and the models would feel like when they're stepping into the coterie is that they're stepping into a sort of an imagination space and in like a fantasy land in a sense. But there's a portion of it that focuses on legacy and the history of illustration and the history of fine art. And I would hope that the artists and models that step into that space can see the history of the past as well as a way for them to build their portfolios for the future.
And going back to the word coterie, can you give a little definition of what that is?
Sure.
'Cause I know it's satirical a little bit.
Yes.
We'll play.
So coterie has a couple of different meanings. It's not a term that's used very often today. It actually, I think, is a diaper brand at the moment. But it traditionally and historically, a coterie was a private social club and community. So Collar City Coterie is a little satirical in the sense that it masquerades as a affluent society social club. But it caters to everyone and the entire community, and it is open to artists of all backgrounds.
I love that. And I know you have a very whimsical, vintage, sometimes even like surreal feeling and vibe to this space. So what draws you to that aesthetic? Like what made you have that be the aesthetic of the club?
Well, the aesthetic of the club is inspired by a couple of different areas. When I was an illustration student at Ringling College of Art and Design, I was really inspired by the work of J.C. Leyendecker. He was an artist of the 1920s, 1930s, and he illustrated a lot of the Saturday Evening Post covers before Rockwell. He was Rockwell's mentor. And when I returned back to the Capital Region, I had been formerly working at on the innovation team of Hasbro Toys. I was kind of stepping into a different part of my life and researching some of the history of the area, and I, made the connection between, this illustrator that I, really enjoyed and studied a little bit, J.C. Leyendecker, and Troy, New York, which is where the Aero Collar factory building was. J.C. Leyendecker and his partner, Charles Beach, were the people behind the Aero Collar Man ads, essentially, where Charles Beach was the model and J.C. Leyendecker was the artist, and it was a fashion brand campaign, basically, that also ran in the Saturday Evening Post. So I was very inspired by their sort of approach, and also J.C. Leyendecker's approach to reference, because this was in a time, where photography was available, but J.C. Leyendecker's approach was more focused on traditional practices. He was educated at the Atelier Academy Julian in Paris, and so that was an approach in which the reference for the works that you would make for magazines or literature at the time was referenced from live models. So, you could take photography, but most of the time J.C. Leyendecker worked off of live reference. And what I had found in working off of live reference is that, particularly with some of the local costume clubs that we already had in this area, having artists gather in person, around a live model was something very unique and special, because it's not only you that is, as the artist referencing the model in front of you to create works. It becomes a collaborative experience. It's, the artists in the area, their voices kind of come through your work, and you speak to one another, and there becomes a sort of creative flow within the environment. It's not something in which, because I have experience with art direction, it's not only something in which I, tell somebody, like the concept that we're going to be working on and have them dress up. I ask the models to bring to me, like, a character, a costume, like, what do you want to embody? Yeah. So it's something in which both the artists and the models get to express themselves.
It's like a collaborative kind of
piece. It is.
Like, kind of like, you say, like, I want to say is world building too broad?
No, it's not, because I'm actually a writer and I consider myself a world builder.
Okay,
so,
I thought it was like, give me world building.
Yeah, so I come up with, characters, worlds, environments a lot myself, and I have ever since I was a young child. So this is also sort of a way for me to be able to create a bit of a platform for local artists in the areas to be able to bring their worlds, but we're sort of building a world together in that sense.
I know you said you take legacy building very seriously. You want to make sure that you're supporting and growing younger artists, but also like fostering and creating a legacy for older artists to be remembered. Yeah. Why is that important to you?
I think it's very important for there to not only be mentorship where, artists who are more mature in their careers essentially show younger artists sort of the way, that maybe even that they were trained in. But when I returned to the area and spent time at the figurative club, which is Riverfront at this time, I met an artist there named Norman Strite, who was in his 80s. He was called the Master of Ceremonies for Riverfront. And he hired the models, and he pretty much was able to keep the club running. I spent some time with him when he was in hospice, when he was passing, and that was a very challenging time for me with his life coming to an end. Yeah. And during that time, he was thinking about the future. And he was thinking about me, and he was thinking about the other artists in the area, and he wanted to make sure that that the club stayed together, that the artists and the models stayed together as a community. And he had supported financially the club for quite many years. And he left me a small gift, and I decided with that gift that I wanted to give it back to him, even if he is not here to enjoy it in person. It's something that I feel like is very important to me. I thought that there might be, at least for myself, I saw a bit of a gap in something where he might have needed, somebody to be able to archive his portfolio and, save his work, and set it aside and organize it for him. And that was something I had never considered before. I had never experienced something like that. To me, it seemed like there needed to be something, at least in the figurative artist community in the area, for older artists to still have representation within the community, and also to know that they have
cared
impact,
for it, that they exist, and that their legacy continues on through Collar City Coterie.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Devin, for stopping by and chatting with us today and letting us know about your club.
Yes.
And I'm very excited to peek in myself to one of your events. I think you can find all this stuff online, I'm assuming, about on your website. But thank you so much for stopping by today.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Please welcome Mark and Jill.
When you walk to the garden, you gotta watch your back. Well, I beg your pardon. You walk the straight and narrow track. But if you walk with Jesus, He's gonna save your soul. Yeah, but you gotta keep the devil way down in the hole. All the angels say about Jesus' mighty sword. They're gonna shield you with their wings and keep you close to the Lord. Don't pay heed to temptation, for His hands are so cold. Yeah, but you gotta keep the devil way down in the hole. He's got the fire and the fury at His command. Well, now you don't have to worry if you hold on to Jesus' hand. You'll be safe from Satan. Yeah, when the thunder rolls. Yeah, but you gotta keep the devil way down in the hole. When you walk through the garden, you gotta watch your back. Well, I beg your pardon. You walk the straight and narrow track. But if you walk with Jesus, He's gonna save your soul. Yeah, but you gotta keep the devil way down in the hole.
Lord, Lisa crying, glass broken on the ground. Lord, get me through this. I'll take that gun and shoot 'em down. Yeah, gonna have to leave him, or I'm gonna let him down. Lord, that man gets to drinking, and he just can't put him down. Swing at me one more time, I will lay you in the ground. Yeah, I'm gonna have to leave him, or I'm gonna shoot him down. So we packed our things, we didn't need him anyhow. The good Lord got me through, did not have to lay him in the ground. Yeah, doggone and left him, didn't need him anyhow. Yeah, doggone and left him, did not lay in the ground. When a woman has to make up her mind about what she's doing, she better take her time. She better think about it. She better know the cost. A little bit of freedom and a little time lost. My 2 feet will stand, but not alone. Put your boots on and keep walking on down the road. Turn your back to the wind, carry that heavy load. Got to hold on tight, just don't let go. Ooh, yeah. By strength and grace, a woman finds her path as she walks along in the aftermath. Sometimes you'll feel a little lost, little lonely. Keep your head held high, girl. Make your testimony. My 2 feet will stand, but not alone. A little bit of freedom and a little time lost. My 2 feet will stand but not alone. Put your boots on and keep walking on down the road. Turn your back to the wind, carry that heavy load. Got to hold on tight, just don't let go. Don't let go, you got to hold on tight, just don't let go. No, don't let go, you got to hold on, just don't let go. Don't let go, you got to hold on tight, just don't let go.
Thanks for joining us. For more arts, visit WMHT.org/AHA and be sure to connect with us on social. I'm Matt Rogowitz. Thanks for watching.
Funding for AHA has been provided by your contribution and by contributions to the WMHT Venture Fund. Contributors include the Leo Cox Beach Philanthropic Foundation, Chet and Karen Alpelka, Robert and Doris Fisher-Melisardi, and the Robeson Family Foundation.
At M&T Bank, we understand that the vitality of our communities is crucial to our continued success. That's why we take an active role in our community. M&T Bank is pleased to support WMHT programming that highlights the arts, and we invite you to do the same.